Why might standards of living increase with the extent to which a country relies on markets and maintains clearly defined property rights increase? The logic is simple. Countries are rich when their resources are productive. People who know that they can keep or sell what they produce have a good incentive to work hard to produce much. And people who reap the gains from increases in the productivity of the resources they own have a good incentive to invest in the resources to make them more productive. Ronald Reagan once said, "It is another fact of human nature. When a person owns assets, a house, land, a small business, or shares of stock in a large one, he or she will look after those assets." Let's talk about some decisions that you might face. When do you work harder? When your grade depends only on your work, or when your grade depends on your work and the work of other members of a team? Your answers may vary. In my observation, many people work harder when the work depends only on their own grade. With group projects, many people try to rest on the efforts of the other members of the team. Of course, social pressure and moral obligations sometimes cause people to work harder as a member of a team. Now, the next set of questions. Where is a farmer more likely to invest to make the land more productive? When he or she owns the land and is able to keep any profit earned from the crops grown there? When the land is owned in common by everyone and shares any profits equally? When she owns the land, but a government official can claim her profit as his whenever he wants to? I suspect the answer is going to be when she owns the land and is able to keep any profit earned from the crops grown there. The beauty of the market system is it gives the person who owns the assets or the resources an incentive to use them productively and to make them more productive, thereby leading to greater increases in standards of living for everyone in the economy. Now, what determines a country's standard of living? A country's standard of living depends upon its ability to produce goods and services. The best measure of a country's ability to produce goods and services is something called gross domestic product per capita. Here's a heat map of gross domestic property per capita in 2009. The dark blue areas, Europe, the United States, Australia, Japan's in there. There's some other little dots, blue at Singapore, Hong Kong, tend to be the most, they have the highest per capita GDP. As you get down to the, as you move down from blue to red, you move to poor and poorer countries. I'm not sure if I know all the really poor countries. I believe this is Madagascar sitting out there. That's a really poor country. You can sort of notice that a lot of poor countries are located in the middle of Africa. Countries that rely heavily on markets tend to have high values for the Index of Economic Freedom published by the Heritage Foundation. Countries that rely heavily on command and control usually have low values for the Index of Economic Freedom. This heat map shows where countries tend to be more free economically and those that are less free, at least according to the Heritage Foundation. Australia, New Zealand are the freest countries that I see on this map that pop up. Those really dark greens. The United States is a little bit lower, but again, as you notice here in the middle of Africa, where people are pretty poor, they also tend to have very little economic freedom. So you can sort of see that economic freedom varies around the world. Closely related to freedom, or actually a piece of freedom, is freedom from corruption. Here's a map published by the Transparency Organization. Yellow, lighter colors are more free from corruption. Scandinavia, Australia, Canada. tend to have the best scores for perceived corruption. That means they're the most free. Red countries are less free from corruption. They have lots of corruption, at least perceived corruption. I'm not sure where that country is. North Korea. Cuba's pretty corrupt. Russia's fairly corrupt, not as bad as North Korea. So again, corruption varies in significant degrees across countries. Notice again, we'll do the countries in the middle of Africa. They tend to be pretty corrupt.